Subaru over here just randomly unlocking authority out of nowhere. Like, where the hell did this come from? The ability to see the entire battlefield and where everybody's at, if you know who's who. But yeah, I was immediately kind of questioning, like, where did this come from? Why does he suddenly have this capability? The only thing I can think of is that little last moment that he had with Rem. It seemed like Rem touched him and he had this like glow that was happening to him. I'm wondering if she potentially gave him an authority, which I don't think they ever implied that Rem had the ability to see auras. So I don't think it's from Rem. She could be unlocking something else. Maybe Regulus? Because it seemed like whenever he defeats an archbishop, he gets something from them. And with, obviously, Petalgoose, he got the arms. But I'm not sure that they've ever implied that he got something from Regulus. Now, at the same time, the arms make sense for Petalgoose. What does the auras have to do with Regulus? I don't know. That's the question mark there. And exactly what they're seeing, I guess, is a bigger question mark there. Is he seeing, I don't know, some sort of aura for themselves? Is it him seeing their gate and sort of the energy that comes from their gate? I'm hoping all those question marks are answered later on. And yeah, specifically who he's getting it from. Because again, I don't think this is something that Petalgoose ever had, or at least he implied that he was able to do. But either way, this seems like a really, really good, useful tool for Subaru specifically. Because Subaru, let's face it, for now, he's not like the best combatant. Like, he's not able to get onto the front lines and, you know, duke it out with people. He's usually in the back lines trying to get people in the place they need to be. And so right now, he literally has the ability to see the chessboard, and he's seeing where all the pieces are. Now, this is a problem I had, and I'm kind of wondering if at some point this is going to blow up in Subaru's face as well. I, the entire time, was trying to equate a color with each individual, and I found that at some point, like, in the later moments, I'm like, I don't think that was that person. like Subaru's going, okay, he's over there, and I'm like, wait, I don't think that's who you think it is. Like, there's moments where the colors don't add up, and I don't know if that's just me being colorblind. I'm not actually colorblind. Me just being stupid, stupidly colorblind, or if it's just an aspect of it's supposed to be like you're thinking that they're there, but they're not actually there. This person's not over here. You got the colors mixed up, or, and this is the thing that I'm kind of questioning right now, specifically with Gluttony. Where is the aura or the gate, so to speak, whatever it is? Where is that little glow coming from? Is it specifically one of the entities? Because it felt at some point, like especially when, you know, we had Julius go up there to fight Raid, which we find out later on is not Raid. It wasn't showing an aura up there. So was it just that Raid/Gluttony was moving so fast he couldn't see the aura? Or was the aura somewhere else? You know, again, there's like 3 individuals here, and they sort of, you know, equate one individual as Gluttony. I don't know. It's like everything's like, this is a cool tool, but it feels like I don't think Subaru, or at least me, I'm really, you know, everything's sort of lining up right. It doesn't make much sense if you kind of try to figure out who's standing where at what time. It made sense the very first time. The very first time we had it happen, it was like, yeah, obviously Shaula's not over there. That's going to be Melee over there. Shaula's not there, and then suddenly, bam, the Scorpion shows up. Yeah, that's kind of a confirmation this is Shaula. And again, later on, Subaru kind of connects there, like, oh, thank you, Shaula. Wait. Wait, yeah, that's definitely her. It's the same aura. Okay, make a connection here. It's cool to have this ability, but if we know what he's seeing, I guess that's really the key thing there. He has to know exactly who he's seeing at what time, but we'll get to that when we get into it. I'm going to go through the episode scene by scene and give my analysis of this episode. A lot of it kind of just jumping around. We did get a reset finally, a update on the checkpoint, which is cool as well, but let's go through this. We open up the episode with, yes, Subaru waking up, notifying them that, yes, he was looking into this book, but at some point, yes, Rui got in the way. Now, this is interesting as we see throughout the episode kind of play out that, yes, it seems like Raid himself has been consumed. So this now makes sense, potentially, why when Subaru opened this book for Raid, he went to this place of memories, because this makes me believe that if somebody is consumed by Gluttony and you read their book, you might not necessarily get thrown into that person's memories. You're going to get thrown into Rui/Gluttony itself, which was kind of interesting there. But yeah, he wakes up, tells them he got in the way. That's when they go out to see what's going on. They go to the balcony, which is, I like how Subaru right here kind of figures out really quickly, okay, this is going to play out differently because now we got Melee. The previous ones, yeah, it looks like they got overrun, everything like that, but Melee was, something happened to her. So now, hey, Melee, can you help us out here? Oh, gosh, she's like, I can't do anything with this. Like, dude, these things are going crazy. There's too many of them. But Subaru, I get a little bit of a sass there. It's like, what, Subaru? I have these ones that are not quite here yet that can help us out here. It's just her kind of just gloating about how she can help out. It's kind of cute to kind of see Melee sort of turn from somebody that's kind of mischievous and, distant to now she's more getting in the role of being like the little sister that wants to help out Big Brother and, is trying to figure out some way that she can help. And then she wants some praise for it. Praise me more. Yeah, I'm going to help out here. Praise me more kind of moment there. I love that when he first shows up, when Subaru first shows up, the look on Shaula's face, she's immediately like, oh, Master's here. I can prove something to him. Look at me. And you're doing great. Yeah, you're doing really great. Keep up it. Yeah. Shaula's such a dork. Which does technically bring up one of my question marks that I had throughout this episode about Shaula specifically. Because yes, as we see throughout the episode, she attacks twice. And the first time really quickly takes out a big old chunk out of Subaru before he gets the reset point. And then the later on point, he's able to kind of see it coming because she first attacked, Gluttony, but then goes to attack Subaru, and that's when they all jump in and stop her. So here's the question mark I have really. The first time she turns into a scorpion, she immediately goes for Subaru, takes a bite out of him. The second time, she saves Subaru before going on the offense with all them. I'm actually now trying to think about if that second time, if she actually went aggro on Subaru. It all kind of gets me down to the question mark of who is commanding her to attack Subaru. Because it seems like out of nowhere, she's helping out Subaru. Subaru is master, wants to help Subaru so badly, is looking for his approval all the time, senses something, smells something in him that is her master, and wants to devote everything to him, and then suddenly out of nowhere, Scorpion attacking him. But not always attacking him. Not every time that she's a Scorpion is she full-on aggro on him. Again, she technically saved his life by killing Gluttony. Why? Why this time? I'm really kind of considering the possibility here that what she's being commanded to do. Yes, and I say commanded because I think somebody's actually commanding her to attack Subaru or attack somebody else. And my logic's more going to, with the fact that we're finding out in this episode that Raid is Gluttony, I think there's possibility of the Master, the one that, again, Shaula thinks Subaru is, the Master's form is being taken by Rui. And she's showing up at some point during these entire loops and telling Shaula he's a fake. Go kill him. And that's when Shaula goes barreling after Subaru. That's what I'm assuming is happening here. I don't know that Raid could command her. She could be afraid of Raid, and Raid could command her do that, but I don't think it's going to be the case. I think it's going to be somebody else that Rui's taken the form of and commanding Shaula to kill Subaru. That's sort of where I'm thinking we're going here. But anyways, that's when they go to run to see if they can find Amelia and Ram, and that's when Ram shows up and immediately forgets who Amelia is. That was like a big bummer moment. I'm like, yeah, probably going to have a reset at this point. I mean, yes, technically they could fix this whole situation, but it's like, yeah, Ram immediately is like, who's Amelia? we gotta who is Amelia. Can we have that meme now? Everybody that jokes about who's Ram, can we now say who's Amelia? But no. Her immediately trying to think about like, oh crap, it's happened again. It happened with my sister. It's happening with a silver-haired girl. She immediately tries to remember that. And it's kind of interesting with Amelia specifically. She's trying to remember Amelia and she's getting this headache. I don't recall them ever having that same problem with Rem. Because what they're kind of pointing out here is because there's so many memories within Ram that involves Amelia, it's causing her brain to go haywire. I think she did a little bit of that with Rem, but it still kind of makes you kind of question that. But anyways, they go back there to run into Amelia and Rai. I like how immediately Amelia's like, hey guys, you might not know who I am, but this is the bad guy. She knows something's happened. Like she's assuming because I ran into this guy, he's probably going to wipe memories. So let them know beforehand, hey, I'm not the bad guy. You might not recognize me, but I'm your friend. And Super's got to, reassure her. It's okay. I know who you are. But yeah, specifically right here, kind of showing him using Amelia's abilities on them, which I think is kind of nice that they got to him quicker the next loop just to avoid that. But it doesn't stop the fact that he's got tons of abilities. As we see later on, there's like all these crazy abilities that he's able to use, which, yes, opens up the door to the fact that Gluttony, upon consuming people, is also consuming their abilities, which that's a can of worms of like insane overpoweredness. If they have the right abilities they're getting from these people. I mean, we see it with Raid. They're now able to be Raid, and Raid's insanely powerful. This is not a pushover. So they're basically becoming them, which is insane. Now, here's the weird part. And this kind of makes me wonder if each of these loops is playing out differently. Raid shows up and immediately floor stomps Lai. Like, what? Because again, we later on find out that's Roy. Why would Roy come here and beat up his brother? The only thing I can think of is that he's either playing into the role that he would as Raid, or he just has lost himself in that persona. He was sitting up there for so long, keeping them from going through, that he became Raid, and he's forgotten himself. It does seem like later on that when, Julius does fight Raid, he eventually figures it out. I'm kind of curious how he does, if it's admitted to him, or if at some point he realizes this isn't Raid. Like, something about him's different. This isn't the guy that I think it is. I'm kind of curious now how he figured it out, because again, it does seem like, Roy is playing into this role. He's literally becoming Raid, and right here, again, he's stomping his brother in the ground, so he doesn't kill him. Now, technically, he doesn't kill him, and that could be a sign there that he's just playing the role, but looking back at this point now, it's really weird. Now that we know who Raid is, this part right here is really weird. Now, it could just be that in this particular loop, he didn't take over Raid's body, but I think it is. I think for the moment that they arrived in this tower, Raid was Roy, always sitting there waiting for them to show up, and again, keeping them from going further into the tower. But anyways, yeah, like he's immediately like, hey, who's next? And Amelia's like, can we just not be friends? Like, can't we just thank you for beating him and let's just all be friends? Like, no, I want to have fun. I'm here to have fun. Let's have fun. Come on, let's fight. Come on, let's fight. But yeah, this is when we have our first moment of Subaru seeing the auras, or at least activating this authority, which allows him to look around and see everything. And very quickly, again, this is where I'm trying to figure out who each of these colors of the auras are, who he's seeing. Every single one of these loops, Beatrice is always red. So that one's the easy one. I'm not really sure 100% in this first moment here who is gold and purple. Now, it could just be that he's looking in different angles here, and thus people appear in the scene differently. But specifically, we had 4 people in a clump right there. And that was, Julius, it was Amelia, it was Raid, and it was Lai. So those 4 individuals were right there. One of them's going to be white, red, blue, and black. I think based on later stuff, we can confirm that Rai is black and Amelia is blue. So then questions who is white and red. Now, we do find out later on that Julius is gold. So it is odd right here if Julius is right there in that group. Why isn't there a gold? Again, this is where I'm kind of wondering how much of this is because Gluttony could potentially move around, that I'm getting a misdirection here, or how much of it I'm just, it for some reason is not lining up here. But yes, we also in this whole segment here see that Melee is on the railing and she's blue, and then obviously that Shaula's not there anymore, and that's when Shaula comes and attacks him. But again, I think the question mark that I have really from this scene is if Julius is gold or yellow, why isn't he in this clump? And again, who is this other golden and purple? Which I'd assume at that point was Ram and Ekidona. But again, it's only 3, and Ekidona was white later on. Again, I don't know how much I want to dig into this stuff, because I'm not sure if it's something they're going to explain later on. But yeah, anyways, Shaula comes down, knocks out his leg, and immediately we have the appearance of Satala in order to, I guess, kill him. I'm very kind of curious why she shows at this point, or if somebody else kills him. He might just be seeing Satala and then something else offs him. We don't really see what the killing blow is, just the fact that she shows up, says, I love you, boom, reset. And yes, that we have a change of the starting point. So this is actually the first time that we have episode 1 Subaru having a checkpoint change. And of course, he's now confused as to what was the condition that this happens. What is the condition this happens? This is kind of weird. And again, right here, immediately going back into the auras, which at this point we see, yes, again, confirming Beatrice is red. Ekidona is right next to him. She's white. Then we look over somewhere else. We see blue, and we see black, and we see purple, which purple's running away. So that's the assumption there is that's Ram with Rem. Odd here that we don't see there's 2 different auras running away from the situation, which could be the fact that they're just so close to each other and is blocking, but again, I think this is the point where we can confirm that black is probably Rai and that blue is Amelia. But yeah, this is the point where he decides to kind of shift things quite a bit. Because again, the focus that he has here is that he can't have Raid show up with that situation so they can handle Rai right then. So he decides to have Julius go basically keep him busy while he handles this whole situation down here. And yes, we see that it kind of shifts things quite a bit because right off the bat, we do see that Amelia is still known by Ram, and so they're able to go there and fight together. I love this scene so freaking much, too, because at some point, he's just trying to mess with them by playing into the characters that he's consumed, playing the people that he's consumed, and he immediately does the whole, like, reset to 0 thing, and it pisses Ram off. Even though Ram wasn't there, it's just the fact that he's playing it out and he's trying to play her sister just pisses her off, so she just, like, gets rid of it. Stop it. Just die. And again, right here, he starts to do different abilities. Palm of Authority, Dorkle the Leaper's teleportation. Again, that's pretty crazy to be able to actually use the abilities. But this is when we get the next moment of auras. And this is where, again, I start to kind of really question, Subaru, are you seeing what you think you're seeing? Because he looks up and he sees individuals and claims that, okay, good, Rem's with them. And I'm like, wait, are you sure? Because he sees a blue, a black, and a white. Again, the black so far has always been Rai. So who's black now? Who is that black that's up there? Are you sure that's who's up there right now? But again, oddly enough, looking up further and seeing Julius, but not seeing an aura with him. And again, that could just be specifically because Ray at that time / Gluttony is moving so fast that we can't see something. But still, again, this is where when this part happened, I start to really question, like, whose aura are you seeing? And are you keeping track of who you're seeing up there? It's a cool little game here. I do, again, like this idea of sort of this chess that Subaru is now able to play to figure out where people are at, make sure people are at the place they need to be, being able to see when a threat is actually coming. Again, being able to see when Shaula is coming at him. But yeah, that's when Rai attacks Subaru and is completely eviscerated and destroyed by Shaula. And again, very odd that in this loop, she's saving his life. Why this time? Why last time she was killing him, this time she's not? It's very odd. But no, the interesting thing also in this scene right here is that they fight off Shaula before finding out that Ram hasn't gotten her memories back yet. The memories of Ram has not returned, despite the fact they just killed one of the Gluttonies. Which, the assumption there would be, again, the fact that there is multiples of them, that they would probably have to kill all 3 of them. There's a potential here they can get the whole trope where you have to kill all 3 at once. That if you don't, they're like a Hydra, where they just regrow. They have to get them all in one locations and kill all 3 of them at the same time. Something like that could end up happening. No, I do like the fact that Subaru's like, I kind of want him to live, but we can't afford the risk. It's like, dude, dude's trying to kill you so many times. You're like, oh, I don't want him to die. But yeah, they also talk right here about the authority itself, allowing him to see people. Again, very interesting. I'm kind of curious if they'll get into exactly where he got it from. But yeah, that's the point in which Julia shows up and has some good news and bad news. Good news is I figured out where the gluttony is that we're looking for. Bad news is it's Raid. Again, I'm assuming that whenever they take upon these forms, they consume somebody that much, they literally become them. They literally become Raid. So that's making this not so much the fact that, oh, yay, it's good news technically because they're not fighting actually Raid, but it's kind of bad news because it seems like he's actually Raid. So that's pretty crazy. Anyways, crazy episode. Again, crazy awakening for Subaru and kind of curious exactly where this ends up going from here, but good stuff, good stuff. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. Until next time, y'all take care.